I'm going to be talking to you about implementing quality at speed with our Quality Fusion platform. So in terms of agenda, I'll start off just by giving you a bit of background about prolifics testing in terms of who we are and what we do. And then I'll go on to talk about how we can help implement quality at speed. I'll give you an introduction to our Quality Fusion platform, which is an AI-driven and containerized test automation platform. Then I'll hand over to Jagdish, who will undertake a series of demos around Quality Fusion to show how it can automate web, mobile, and APIs as well. There'll be time at the end for Q&A, so please, as questions do come up, just enter them in the chat box, and both myself and Jagdish will try and get round to answering as many of them as we can at the end of the session. So without further ado, just in terms of background, so prolifics testing, we were actually known as e-testing. We were a very small specialist testing services company, no larger than 35 or so consultants in the UK. But as of November of 2017, we became the UK testing arm of prolifics. Now, prolifics is a global digital transformation specialist, and we focus on areas such as cloud migrations, integrations and APIs, data and analytics, DevOps, and where we fit in within quality engineering. In terms of size, we've got 1,500 employees split between the UK, US, Canada, Germany, and our main offshore delivery center based in Hyderabad. So what does that mean as of today? Well, prolifics testing, we have a UK footprint with an offshore testing center of excellence. We're actually nearing up to the dedicated 500 QA staff based here in the UK and offshore in India. And if you were to ask us what makes us different to many of the other testing services companies out there, and it's our focus on innovation, and not for its own sake, but to help our clients to test smarter, faster, and at less cost. So to begin, test automation for achieving quality at speed. Now, we work with a number of organizations across different sectors to help them implement test automation. The first level of maturity comes from introducing our GAP framework, and it's similar to many other frameworks out there, where our framework helps organizations start automating on day one. It's a hybrid, modular, keyword and data-driven framework for both Selenium for open source and UFT for non-web applications. And what it does is it helps accelerate automation with pre-built library of functions. And we've created those for SAP, Workday and Oracle, as well as having ready-made frameworks around Salesforce, Dynamics 365 and MuleSoft. The next level of maturity we can offer organizations for test automation is what we like to call test lifecycle automation. And it's all about automating more. So it's about automating the entire test lifecycle. So everything from automated test design, data, execution, through to validation. And the reason for today's webinar is to actually introduce you to our latest innovation, which we call Quality Fusion. And it's all about helping organizations to automate intelligently. And it's an AI-driven containerized platform based in the cloud. So Quality Fusion, how does it help organizations to automate intelligently? Well, as I mentioned, it's a fully containerized and cloud-based platform which uses totally open source components with embedded AI capabilities to help automate test design, data, execution through to analytics. It provides automation across all channels, so whether it's web applications, mobile apps, thick client desktops, desktop applications, or indeed back-end APIs. Now, our philosophy in developing Quality Fusion was firstly to help organizations achieve faster, more frequent delivery, importantly whilst maintaining quality. As I've mentioned, it's built on open source components, so there are absolutely no license fees, subscription costs, or maintenance costs involved with our platform. And it was important to us to make Quality Fusion an inclusive platform, so anyone within the organization can use it. So with Quality Fusion, business users can take advantage of its code-free automation. And on the same platform, automation engineers can use its ready-made frameworks built in both Java and C#. And on the same platform, your developers or dev testers can use Quality Fusion through its support of IDEs. And inherently what you'll find is, as you see the demos, it's built on flexibility. So you can use Quality Fusion straight out the box, or where organizations may get added value is to tailor it specifically for your organization. So in terms of features, as I mentioned, it's built on open source components. So we actually use Selenium for web automation, Winium for desktop, Appium for mobile automation, and Rest Assured framework for APIs. It's already got pre-built integrations into Jenkins and Azure DevOps to support CI/CD and shift left testing. It also supports both Docker and OpenShift for containerization, so users can easily spin up Quality Fusion in the cloud, automatically provision environments, and undertake parallel test execution. And we've also implemented Google's TensorFlow AI engine for improved analytics, where it can take historic defects data as well as live production monitoring data to help organizations focus test effort more intelligently. And it's not just about creating those automated test scripts. The headache then becomes, how do you maintain those scripts, especially large packs as well? So what we've done to help reduce maintenance is by implementing what's known as self-healing scripts. And that means if an object changes on a page, then they will be automatically updating scripts throughout the whole pack with no or minimal intervention. And as we mentioned before, all about openness, it's built on open REST APIs. So organizations can just simply plug and play any and all of their existing tool sets across their test, defect management, and DevOps tooling as well. So what does Quality Fusion look like? Well, it's designed to help organizations to shift left for functional, performance, and security testing. The actual framework and the code lies within a cloud-based Git repository. And the way it works is every time there's a new build created, whether you're using Azure DevOps or Jenkins, it will automatically trigger off a test, which will spin up a container, whether it's Docker or OpenShift, and that will automatically execute a series of tests, whether it's just functional tests or along with performance and security tests as well. And that will publish results in whichever format is desired. It'll also centrally store all results in a database and at the same time push out test summary dashboards to all relevant stakeholders. So what next for Quality Fusion? Well, in terms of our development, we've got to a place for our platform, but we're continuing looking at how we can improve it. So already at the moment, we're working with one of our clients to build specific integrations into X-Ray for test management, as well as Confluence and Ansible for environment provisioning, as well as Tecton pipelines, which is becoming quite popular for cloud-native CI/CD. What we are most excited about within Prolific's testing is adding test data management capabilities to Quality Fusion, which we're currently developing. And that will enable test data to be automatically masked and obfuscated to overcome GDPR data privacy regulations. And as our next phase, we've already got the functional automation side working on our platform. The next phase, we'll be looking to integrate our ready-made frameworks and accelerators for non-functional testing. So we'll be adding performance testing in the form of integration to jmeter and Locust, as well as application security scanning with OWASP SAP. And finally, we're looking into the feasibility as well of adding service virtualization capabilities to Quality Fusion to help organizations to shift left for functional performance testing when applications or services aren't available. So that's it for me for now. So I'll hand over to Jagadesh, who will kick off our demos around Quality Fusion. Jagadesh, over to you.
Thanks, Faz. So good afternoon, everyone. So this is our Quality Fusion dashboard. So once you actually access this Quality Fusion dashboard, you have something called project, where you can go ahead and create a project name and select the appropriate framework. You have different options like BDD, Winium, Mobile. So all you have to do is give the appropriate project name and then configure the Git details. So now you have configured the Git URL, and for the security reasons, we are also ensuring that we have the token for each of this. And now we are configuring all the CI/CD tools like Git and Jenkins. So basically, right? So Jenkins is our CI/CD tool where it enables the auto scheduling of the test and managing all your testing. So we are going ahead and configuring CI/CD to initiate our automated executions. And we also have different databases like MySQL, Postgres, and Oracle. So you can also configure this to do the automated data mining from the existing database. And we also have collaboration tools where you can configure your issues as well. So we have integration to Jira and Azure. And in case if you have specific issue tracking tools within your organizations, we can also go ahead and configure them. And once you have configured this specific, either it's Jira or Azure, so we'll also give the associated username and the respective token ID, and then click on sync project so that all the projects will be listed out here in terms of what are they configured to Jira or Azure. So now we click on sync projects. You'll see the projects that are already linked to this specific Jira and Azure, and you have a statement that the projects are loaded here. So we are selecting the appropriate project and click on create project. And as this is a web demo, web automation demo, so we'll go ahead and select the appropriate project name as web demo Prolifix. Then we'll go ahead and do the necessary workflow creation. So as a first step, once you select the project, we'll go ahead and create the workflow is web automation. Now we are not doing API, right? So we have selected web as our, and then you give the name of this specific module or the workflow. So we are testing our internal portal within Prolifix, and we are also giving the necessary URL, whichever we are trying to automate them. And so the workflow is created now, web demo portal, and we'll go ahead and start, creating pages or probably invoke the browser and start or automating or grab the elements automatically. So we have now see there is a customized QF browser that is being loaded, which is Quality Fusion browser. And we are just showing, we are just logging in and ensuring that it is just, how the normal Chrome or Mozilla reacts, right? So in similar fashion, but this is customized and integrated to Quality Fusion. So I will go ahead and log out now, and we'll, grab the elements for different pages, basically. So now this is where you have the login page and the landing page. And so let's say for an example, here whenever you click on get elements and give the necessary page name, like let's say login, and click on save elements, now automatically all the elements are grabbed. And when you click on save elements, all your elements will go ahead and save in your Quality Fusion dashboard, which means that you're having an object repository now. And in future, for example, if the developer or if there is a CR that's being deployed and there are a lot of changes in your web page, you don't need to go ahead and create your test scripts from scratch. You already have an existing object repository, and you just expose your screens to the QF browser, and it will automatically detect the changes. And now what we are doing is we are going ahead and grabbing the elements for one of the other page, which is edit profile or profile page. So again, you click on save elements. So all the objects or elements will go ahead and save in the Quality Fusion database. And we are using all open source tools in terms of both test automation and all the CI/CD integrations as well. And once you click on this refresh button in the Quality Fusion dashboard, now we have created 3 pages. One is login page, home page, and profile page. And you'll see lot of elements here, which are automatically grabbed from by using this grabber, which is integrated to Quality Fusion, right? So now we might not need all elements, or we might not need all the objects. So what we'll go ahead and do is we'll go ahead and save whichever or the objects that we need, right? For example, if it is an edit profile, what do you need? What are you going to change there, right? You're going to change an Gmail ID or your email ID, right? So you go ahead and select that specific element and object, and you save this elements with respect to that specific page. And even on the home page. So basically on the home page, what you'll go ahead and check is whether you have the appropriate logos, or maybe you just wanted to validate whether you have reached out to the right page or not. So we'll just go ahead and select that specific elements here. So my info is the one that we are going to select here to validate it. And from the login page, for example, in the login page, there are few objects or elements that are very important for you, which is user ID, password, and submit button. So we'll go ahead and select the necessary elements, and then we'll save that. And now we have selected username, password, and then submit button, because we don't need all the elements or objects for each of this page. So that's the reason we wanted to restrict it. And then once the pages are available, now we'll go ahead and create the screens basically. So the first step for your simple test automation is to create a page, and every page has associated screens. So now you have already identified, right? For example, for edit profile, you have identified my info or the Gmail ID that you wanted to change, right? So you can go ahead and create a specific screen for this edit profile. And once edit profile is done, so you have one screen now, we'll go ahead and create another screen, which is for both login and homepage. Now we'll create a screen for the homepage basically. Yeah, just again, we click on create screen, select the my info. So all the elements that you have saved while creating, as soon as you have created the pages, will automatically populate here, and give the description as well for each of these screens. So even we have created a second screen as well, which is homepage screen. And now we'll go ahead and create a screen called login page. So in the login page, like the main key elements are username, password, and submit button. So as soon as you click on login page, the three fields will automatically get populated. Then just click on create screen. So the hierarchy is just wanted to reiterate. So now you have pages, and then now you have screens as well. So all three screens are ready now. So now it's time to go ahead and create a test case. And you also have a feature to order the elements, because username should come first, password, and then submit button. Then you go ahead and click on test cases. And now we can go ahead and map these screens, multiple screens. You can map it as one test case, or every screen, if you wanted to execute separately, you can go ahead and create a different test case. So now we'll go ahead and create a test case with all these three screens, which will be incorporated into a single test case. And we have configured the collaboration tool while we started off from the Quality Fusion dashboard, right? In the initial screen. So you can go ahead and map it to the sprint as well. So now we are selecting all the three screens that we have created: homepage, login, and edit profile, and click on create test case. So we just give the appropriate test case name or test script name that you wanted, and the associated description as well. And you can also go ahead and rearrange how you wanted to execute these screens basically, and click on save. So you can see that test case is created successfully. So which means that now your test case design is completed. It is fully automated. Now the next step is to create a data set, which is very important. And even the data set for most of the organizations, it takes a lot of time. So you have two options here. One is regular data set, and the other one is DB data set. So if it is regular data set, which means that it's kind of using your synthetic data, where you go ahead and probably punch in the data credentials in terms of usernames, password, or it could be orders, or it could be some email IDs, right? And if it is, you select the DB data set, which means that you just have to give the host name and the database credentials, and automatically the queries will go ahead and fetch the data, and your test scripts will be executed against the different data conditions. So we'll go ahead and select the regular data set now. And these data sets, once you create it, it can be reused. So for login screen, these are the data sets: username, password, and submit button. So submit button is a click. So we just select the radio button as a click. And this is how you can go ahead and punch in the data. And once you select all these details, now we have gone to the edit profile screen. Even this is a click. And here we give a different email ID because this is where you have to input the data. And all these data sets will be given a specific unique name. And so that, for example, in future, you wanted to go ahead and use these data sets against a different test case, you have a copy option here, which we are highlighting on the screen, or you have an edit as well, where you can go ahead and edit and map these particular test cases. And before that, you also have different browsers here, Chrome. And so, for example, Chrome is being highlighted here, which means that the test will execute on Chrome browser. Tomorrow, you want to go ahead and execute on Mozilla or IE. All you have to do is go ahead and select the appropriate browser name as well. And you have all different ways of execution. For example, if there is something that you wanted to do, maybe a sanity check, smoke test, or you wanted to execute your test on your local machine, you can go ahead and execute, select the test execution mode as local. And then you can also, let's say, for example, you have a large bunch of tests where you need to go ahead and execute 1,000 test case, or probably you have to go ahead and schedule your automated test to be executed during the weekends or late nights. You can also use Jenkins. And now our Quality Fusion is also fully integrated to Docker containerization platform, where we wanted to go ahead and eliminate the upstream dependencies of creating the VMs and then probably manually configuring all these VMs, executing the tests, and then also doing a health check on these VMs. It's going to be a tedious task. So as soon as we select Docker as your execution mode, automatically all these libraries will get spinned up, and it will spin up the containers as well, and all the softwares will be installed, and the tests will be executed on multiple VMs or containers. And then after the test execution, the reports will be pushed to the Postgres database, and automatically the containers will get decommissioned. So everything is fully automated here and can be executed in all the execution modes and can be executed across different browsers. So now we'll go ahead and select the appropriate execution mode as local. And you have an option to add environments. For example, today the same test scripts you are executing on a staging environment. Tomorrow you want to execute on a different environment, like it could be a pre-prod or it could be an UAT. So you can, all you have to do is add your environment and then just click on execute button. Your test scripts will go ahead and execute against the targeted environment that you have selected. So now we'll go ahead and click on execute button, where you'll see the test execution will be initiated, and you'll see a lot of libraries. So you can see, the test has just initiated, and it's trying to configure all the Maven libraries. It takes a couple of seconds to ensure that all the Maven libraries are configured properly, and also download all the latest test scripts from the Git, and ensure that all the data set variants are also being configured properly, and then execute your test scripts. So in a couple of seconds, you should be able to see the browser that's being launched, and you'll see the test execution for all the 3 screens that we have created as part of this specific test cases for web portal automation. And so, which means that now your test case design is automated, your test data is automated, your test execution is automated. So all 3 of them are automated, which reduces drastic amount of time in your QA. And even your functional QA engineers can also go ahead and use this, Quality Fusion Accelerator, which is very simple. You don't need to know too much of coding, or it's not a complex tool. It is a very straightforward tool with everything end-to-end testing is completely automated. So now the browser is launched and we have logged in, and we'll edit the profile or whatever the or actions that we have done while we have grabbed the elements, and then we'll log out from this specific application. So now it's on the edit profile screen where we are trying to update the email ID. So we have given raj@gmail.com in the data set as well. So the same is being configured. Now you can see that the test execution is done, and you also have got that message. Now we'll go back to the reports. So this is specific basic reports, which means that like now your overall test report is generated with a detailed log on what steps have passed, what have failed, and in case how many data sets have been used, and all the details. And in case if you wanted to go ahead and for any root causes or any failures, you'll also have the screenshot that is being captured, and this test reports will be automatically emailed to the respective stakeholders or the QA team or the dev team on and describing the test analytics as well, how many of them have passed, how many of them have failed. So this is a basic report, and so which means that we automated test design, we automated test data, we automated test execution, and now the reporting part, this is a basic report. We have also automated the test analytics and impact analysis as well. So now we'll go ahead to the project dashboard. So this is our project dashboard where you'll be able to see the number of test cases that you have executed, number of data sets that you have used, and total screens that you have tested as part of this specific project. So which means that you have all the information. Tomorrow, a QA manager or a QA lead wanted to check what's happening on the testing front. So you don't need to go ahead and basically look for your reports or a report from your lead. It will automatically fetch all these details. And here we only executed one specific test case. So you'll not see the prediction analysis for this. So what I'll do is to show you the impact analysis or a machine learning algorithm that we have configured. I'll select a different project where we have executed multiple tests. Maybe we'll go ahead and select a project called PPM. And so here you can automatically see the prediction analysis. So the prediction analysis or the impact analysis is being configured via TensorFlow integration with machine learning. So you could see as soon as you select that specific project. So in your next release, so once your CR is being deployed, you can see these many number of API scenarios or APIs or services or web scenarios that will get failed. So I mean, even in terms of predictive analytics as well. So it gives, this is fully automated. And let's say for an example, we also have created one more report portal to ensure that it has a detailed, rich content of the reports and also show you how many tests have been executed and who has executed the test and detailed analysis of that, by configuring log4j and all. So if you could see, these are the detailed analytics in terms of the report portal that we have configured. And you can see different list of projects that are available. All you have to do is select that specific project that you wanted to view the analytics against. So you'll be able to see all the list of tests that we have executed for this specific project. So now we'll go and select the Quality Fusion Pro project, where we'll be able to see all the tests that are being executed. Now we have selected the project, right? And launches will actually give you the number of tests and when was each test executed, how many have passed, how many have failed. So this is pretty much about Quality Fusion web automation. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask us. So we'll be able to answer most of your questions. And as I said before, with this web automation demo completing, so we have automated end-to-end, even from the requirement configuration, from the test case design, and automatically creating the test scripts. Test data is automated, test execution is automated, test reporting is automated, your predictive analytics is fully automated. Any other questions? Yes, thanks for your question. Yes, even this can be supported for Microsoft Edge as well. So what we have to do is we just have to go ahead and update our configuration file. So our Quality Fusion configuration file where we have to configure this Edge browser. So we can go ahead and execute your test against Microsoft Edge browser as well. Yes, this is pretty much simple where we can modify and execute the test scripts. Any other question? Yeah, we currently it is on-prem, but this is easily configured to configurable to cloud as well. So I mean, we can do both, and we can give an access to our customers as well. And once we deploy this Quality Fusion, so I mean, it will be deployed on your network so that it all the project control and the statistic analytics and the reports or the test scripts or within the specific client network, and we ensure that it is fully secured as well. And we have done all these security compliances, and Quality Fusion is also certified against all the security standards as well. Any other questions? Yeah, so thanks, Prash. So it is very easy to edit the fields. Basically, what you have to do is, for example, tomorrow, if there is a different field, or once you have created a page, right? So now you wanted to add a, for example, in login, we only selected username, password, and submit button. So let's say you wanted to select another field there. So all the elements are already saved there. You just have to go to the page and then select the necessary field or edit the field or add a different field there. So far, thank you everyone, and hope I've answered most of your queries, but I'll just give another 1 minute to actually take up any other questions on web automation testing. Yeah, so thanks, Prash. So from the AI impact analysis, right? So this is basically built on TensorFlow integrations. So what this impact analysis does is, so as soon as your CR is being deployed, right? Or for example, you have selected a collaboration, I mean, issue type as well, right? So as soon as that is selected, you'll have the associated business processes and sub processes that are being mapped. So, let's say for an example, a sales order, right? In terms of a OTC scenario, if I take an order to cash as your business process, if there is a CR that's being deployed, what this TensorFlow integration or machine algorithm will do is it will go ahead and scan the objects that are being associated with this sales order creation scenario, and it will automatically identify the list of cases which are associated to the objects or transport and list out the key business processes or sub processes, and you can go ahead and just execute that specific 10 sub processes because they were highly impacted, and so they were risk prone areas. So based on that, you can choose your test cases to an optimal level and execute them instead of executing your, maybe most of our clients, right? They do have I mean, very huge components and different large landscapes where they have to execute the whole test suite, which takes a lot of time. I mean, which while we focus on executing or completing all the test suite execution rather than finding the defects. So when we focus on this specific risk prone areas where our machine learning algorithm that is being integrated to TensorFlow can get this information, it is very easy to go ahead and test the specific areas, risk prone areas, against different data conditions, different test data, large, medium, and small data sets, and then identify the actual defects. Yeah, yes, we can we can show you, or probably Prash will send you the coded test script, and it will be very easy for you to go ahead and update this test script, because all these details will be saved in the Quality Fusion dashboard. So we'll after this call, we'll go ahead and send you that specific test script. Any other questions? And also, yeah, I also got your question. So for example, right, in terms of sync issues and all, right. So what we do is basically tomorrow, in case if there is a sync issue or so, right. So what Quality Fusion does is, here, we are not including any kind of unnecessary objects or elements. We are doing a selective pick of these objects and elements. And also when we do a lot of shakeout tests within Quality Fusion, right? And probably this being integrated to containerization platform. There itself, with a good amount of bandwidth and good amount of your hardware configurations that is being integrated on the containerization platform, you'll eliminate most of your sync issues. And when we have used this for one of our retail customer, we did not see any kind of sync issues while we executed this on a containerization platform, basically.
Excellent, Jagdish. Shall we move on to the next demo?
Yeah, so yes, Luz had one more question. Fast, I'll just answer this. Yes, we do have integration to any kind of DevOps tools. It's not specific to Jenkins. For example, let's say you have Bamboo, right? So some of the customers are using that. So we can go ahead and easily integrate any kind of CI/CD tools to Quality Fusion. So thanks for posting your questions, and hope I have answered most of your questions. And we'll go ahead with the mobile automation demo now. So this mobile automation demo, like we have, we can do both Android and iOS. So here in this demo, we'll focus more on Android. If you take your web automation and mobile automation, we have ensured that it follows the same process, basically. And they are inline, both web and mobile automation. We have ensured that they are inline. So it's very similar. So we are just giving the project name. And so Android Demo Pro is our project name. So we are selecting the specific project name here. And then again, we create a workflow. Once the workflow is created, we also will go ahead and create, once we do the basic configuration from Android devices, we'll go ahead and create a page and then the screen. So the whole process will remain. Now you have the workflow that is being created. So we select the workflow. And once we select the workflow, you'll be automatic, click on create page. You'll see the automated prerequisites from the framework will be populated to input the APK file here. So we are going ahead and selecting the necessary APK file. So once we select the APK file, so then we click on connect, and automatically there is a connection that's being established to the QF and to these Android devices. You just click on connect. So it takes a couple of seconds to get connected to the specific QF and to the Android devices that are being deployed on Sauce Labs. And in similar fashion, tomorrow, let's say you want to go ahead and execute on iOS, you just have to go ahead and select iOS as your device type. And in similar fashion, we have clicked on get elements. So the grabber will get all the elements that are there on this specific mobile app. And it's the same thing. So as soon as you clicked on that specific get elements and save elements, all your objects will be moved to QF database. And for this specific native app page, these are all the fields that you got in here. So now what we'll go ahead and do is we'll go ahead and select the specific elements that we only need. And we'll go ahead and save that so that it is very easy for us to create a screen. So if you look at your web and mobile automation, it is pretty much similar. So even there we have created a page, then the screen, then the datasets execution. Even now here we are creating a screen now. So just say click create screen. These are all the elements that we have selected. So give appropriate name for this native app screen and the description, any kind of description that makes sense for this, and click on save. So you can also rearrange this. So it is very easy for you to rearrange the order of elements, and you'll see all your elements have been updated successfully. And now with the screens that are available, now the next step is very simple. Go ahead and create your mobile automation test case. So just click on create test case. Here again, you also have on the top right, select sprint and issue. So you can associate this test case to the sprint and issue as well. So we only have one screen for this specific mobile automation testing. So we give an associated test case name or test script name for this. And click on save. Now the test case is created successfully. And the next step is again the same data set. So again, data set is also fully automated here. You have both the options for mobile as well. You want to go ahead and probably do a regular data set or a DB data set. And in case if it is a regular data set, we go ahead and input the specific details that are required to be replaced during your test execution or the data variants that you wanted to go ahead and validate it. So click on create data set, give the associated data set name. The reason why we are giving unique data set name is in case in future you wanted to go ahead and reuse the same data set against different scripts or different test cases, you can automatically use them. So select again the execution mode. Here you have real device execution and source lab virtual, and you also have your local and cloud as well. So you can select your appropriate whatever you wanted to execute, and then and basically here we are selecting source lab as our execution mode, right? In terms of device selection, we are doing a basic source configuration here. Give the configuration name and the device URL. Basically, again, for the security reasons, you have this source username that is being associated along with the security tokens, and then click on save and add devices. You'll have the list of devices that are populated, and you can go ahead and execute this mobile app against different devices that you wanted to select, because once you select the device, it will take a couple of seconds for you to check the device availability and all. And then in case if you wanted to use the same type of, mobile devices in future, you can go ahead and select as a default, and then you can do your test execution. Yeah. So we are selecting the actual device now. And again, the right data set is being selected, and click on execute. So now your test execution will start on the from the source lab side of it. So you can see again all the configurations, in terms of the libraries are being configured now, and you'll see the source execution that will be initiated on the source lab. So immediately you'll have an unique ID, and the beauty of source lab is you can go ahead and execute against different devices at the same time. And also, all the test execution will be automatically recorded as well, in case if you wanted to go ahead and refer in future. So you have the unique ID for the test that is being allocated here, and it will take just a couple of seconds for you to validate the device availability to pick the right associated device and start off your test execution on your mobile platform. So you can see there is a mobile app that is being a native app that is being triggered here, and you're updating specific details. And now the test execution has completed on this specific native app. And once the test execution is completed, you'll also see the recording of your test execution in Sauce Lab and against which device your test execution has been executed as well. And you can go back to the reports where you can go ahead and view the detailed execution report in terms of how many screens have been executed, how many data sets, and whether each of them have passed, failed, and in case of any error, whether a detailed log is being captured or not. So all that you can go ahead and check. So it actually articulates really very well in terms of reporting. It specifies the platform that is being executed, version of the Android, and execution mode as well, whether it has been executed on a Sauce Lab device or a real device or on a local. So all these details, start time, end time, the overall execution time, pass, fail. So this is pretty much about mobile automation, which is fully automated. In terms of all test design, test execution, and capturing all your metrics and test data. And also, as we Prolifix also is partnered with Sauce Labs, and we do have Sauce Lab license. So in case of any kind of mobile automation requirements, right, it should not be an additional burden for you to get this Sauce Lab license as well. So where our Quality Fusion is directly integrated to Sauce Lab, where you can execute multiple tests, parallel tests, different devices testing. So this is pretty much about mobile automation. Any questions on mobile automation? And even for mobile as well, so the same thing, it's being, depending upon the business processes and sub processes, everything is being integrated to our TensorFlow integration with machine learning algorithm aligned to it, where we can do the predictive analytics for mobile as well. So this is pretty much from mobile automation standpoint. And if you do not have, let me know if you have any other questions. So Faz, with this, we are done with both mobile and web automation. Faz, you wanted to go ahead and.
Oh, did we want to show API automation today, or we can leave that for a follow-up session?
Yeah, we can leave that for follow-up session, Faz, or probably what I'll do is maybe for a couple of minutes, I can show that as well. So. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much simple, Faz. The similar fashion how we have created for web and mobile, in the similar fashion we do it for API as well. Sure, we'll go ahead and do it for API as well. Yeah. So API, we have made it very simple for API automation and service level automation. I mean, any kind of services, any kind of message formats, basically you wanted to automate. So we have a single framework for API and all the message formats, all the services, or any kind of web services, SOAP and JSON, any kind of request can be automated using Quality Fusion. So we'll select API as our project type here. So again, we'll go ahead and create a workflow. So we are selecting associated project name after selecting the workflow name as API automation. So this is where we are taking all the requests. So that's the reason all the get and all the get requests, put requests, and all that we are taking from here. So just create a module. So once you have your workflow, right, so we'll select the API testing. Yeah, and click on create API. So all the structure is already in place in terms of what is the body that you wanted to incorporate, and what are the different, even from the test data side of it, right? So what do you want it to configure? So for example, here you have a create API. So this is a post method, and you also have different types of methods that you can select from the drop down as well, and define the appropriate headers body that is associated for each of these requests. You can see, right, there are different HTTP methods that you can configure. So this is a post request. So we have selected HTTP method as post, and this is a sample API that we have selected, and we'll go ahead and incorporate in the body of this format. And you also have different like JSON or text, plain text and all. So you just give the body here, and then you go ahead and click on create API. Automatically your API request will be, or your API script will be created automatically. So now we have one API that is being created now. And now we'll go ahead and select another specific API request. And in the similar fashion, we'll again, and in case if there are any authorizations that are related to this specific API, so we also have an authorization tab here where you can directly punch in the necessary authorization details. So now you have both two APIs. One is get request and the post request here. And we just click on create test case where we wanted to. Again, if you could see, the flow remains the same. So now you have the API requests that are there in place now. So click on create test case and associate what are the APIs that you wanted to include as part of this test case. Let's say you want to execute 10 APIs as part of your test case. Yes, you can go ahead and associate and execute it. And you can also select your test APIs against your sprint, against your issues as well. Okay. And now give the test case name. So this will be very easy. For example, in predictive analytics, there you have seen like which issue or which test cases will be impacted, right? So here you can go ahead and select the list of APIs that are part of all sprint one or issue that you have selected, and you can go ahead and execute those. Click on save. So now you have created the test case successfully. And once you have created the test case, again, you can also go ahead and create the data sets. Usually for anyone to automate this APIs, it's going to be a tedious task. You do a functional validation and then probably try to create an automation scripts using different tools like maybe SOAP UI or Selenium or any other tools, right? So, but here you're doing your automation from day one. And as soon as you get an API, you're automating this. And you do not need any additional skill set or automation expertise to create these test cases, API testing using Quality Fusion. Now you have selected the data sets as well. Now you can see both the APIs are associated to it. And if you wanted to go ahead and update these details, in terms previously we had a different title and now we have updated it. Meanwhile, the similar way where how we have done for web portal, we are creating the data sets and saving these data sets. And now once the data set is created, automatically your next job is to go ahead and execute your tests against different environments and whatever the execution mode that you wanted to execute against. So now again, here you have different environments or targeted environments that you can execute against. And we have selected both the APIs or data sets. Now we click on execute, which will trigger the API tests from Quality Fusion. In a couple of seconds, you should see both the APIs. So as these are, yes, we do have an option to export or import this specific data sets as well. So now we are executing this through Jenkins as our test execution mode. So previously we have run in local for the web automation. Now we have taken Jenkins as our source of execution here. Now we just clicked on execute. So as it is an, there will be a push request as well that is generated there, right? So which means that it's trying to pull the latest set of test scripts. And we are going to check from the Jenkins dashboard how this API test is being triggered and whether we are able to see the associated job in Jenkins. Now you can see, right? So the job is being initiated, and as these are APIs, simple APIs, you will see the execution will be completed in in few seconds, basically, where it's trying to fetch, right? You can see git fetch and all, right? So where it is trying to pull the latest version of the test scripts. So even, I mean, everything is being automated again here in terms of CI/CD as well. So now we'll go to the report section. So still the test execution is in progress. So you'll also see the detailed level of execution as well in terms of like what orders have been created, which customer has been executed and all that, so that in case if there is a failure that is associated, so you can go ahead and review the logs and check what exactly has happened at a specific time and capture the timestamp and then go ahead and check in the server log what exactly has caused the failure as well. And all these test shoots are easily integrated to Log4j as well to give a detailed trace analysis as well for each of the failures. So currently in this scenario, we didn't see any kind of failure, and we are able to get the appropriate response from the server, and we do the right set of validations as well. We validate against the actual response, and we add the assertions for the response. We also validate all these APIs against the status code, even for the web and I mean, for the mobile automation as well. Our validations are very key for any of the test automation. So we include detailed level of validations for each of these test scenarios or test script, and ensure that all of them are evaluated or evaluated, and then detailed trace analysis has been captured for each of these key fields that we have decided to. With this, we actually are to the end of the API automation as well. And the beauty of this tool is, as I said before, all web, mobile, and API, they execute in a sequence. There is no any kind of confusion, very straightforward tool. Follows the same process, the same hierarchy. Create a page. First thing is you have to expose your web page to Quality Fusion browser, then create a page, then create it. Once you create a page, right? So then you identify the necessary fields, elements, or objects, then create a screen. Once the screen is being created, then you automate your data part. Once the automation test design is automated, then you go ahead and schedule your automated tests. Then report is also automated, and you also have predictive analytics or impact analysis. And all three of them runs in the similar fashion. So this is pretty much about Quality Fusion, and thank you very much for all your valuable time. And will take up your questions now in case if you have any questions. And in case, if there are any questions that will trigger to you in future as well, you can immediately reach out to Jagdish or Faz. So we'll send out our email IDs as well, so that we'll immediately respond to all your queries.
Thank you very much, Jagdish. And I think we've run out of time, but I just want to finish off by saying I hope everyone's found this session useful. And if you do, as Jagdish mentioned, have any further questions, or indeed would like to take us up on our offer of a free proof of concept exercise for Quality Fusion for your organization, then please, do not hesitate to get in touch. So with that in mind, just like to thank you all once again, and we shall close this session off. Bye for now.